G'day, my name's Jack and I'm an Aussie expat living in Malaysia. I moved to Kuala Lumpur from Sydney almost 3 years ago, and in this video, I'm going to share with you my cost of living for the last month of October. If you're an expat or thinking about visiting Malaysia, this video will give you a completely honest and realistic breakdown of the cost of living you can expect in 2024. I've recorded every single transaction I've made since moving to Malaysia. I categorize them into 16 different categories, including phone bills, grooming, groceries, rent, and much more. This spending data means I can share with you my 100% accurate and realistic cost of living. It's not sensationalized or just another rough budget guide. I'll convert every major number from Malaysian ringgit to US dollars and Aussie dollars so you can get an idea of the expenses in your primary currency. I'll also cover the impact of the Malaysian ringgit's recent appreciation. Is a stronger ringgit a good thing or a bad thing? Am I noticing inflation? And most importantly, how much did I spend over the last month? Let's find out. Over the last month, I spent 6,820 ringgit. That's 1,590 USD or 2,356 Australian dollars at the time I'm filming this. The last month has been pretty normal for me, so it's a great guide of what you could expect if you were living in Kuala Lumpur. One of my major cost items throughout the year is travel. This month, I did a weekend trip to the expensive Singapore, where I accounted for the flights and the accommodation in the month before, but the cost of the food and the activities while I was there for the weekend are included in the cost for this month. I left it in because this will be pretty common. If you're living here, you'll probably be doing a lot of weekend trips around Malaysia or to nearby countries like Thailand or Singapore. Now that's just October. How about my monthly expenses on average for 2024 so far? I've averaged spending 7,100 ringgit a month, which also included a big trip back to Australia in August. Now Australia is expensive. So overall, my spending in Kuala Lumpur is down about 20% from what I was spending last year, mostly because I haven't been traveling as much, but also because I've simplified my life and put off making some major expenses, such as the new iPhone. If you can guess where I am, we'll be coming to the Apple store later in the video. Now, let's break down my monthly expenses by categories. We'll start with non-discretionary. These are the costs that you can't really bring down to zero. The first one is rent. The setup I have brings my rent to 2,000 ringgit a month. That's 466 USD or 691 Aussie dollars. You can see the exact condo I rent in the video here or linked in the description. It also means rent is about 29% of my overall expenses here in Kuala Lumpur. Now, how about utilities? My share of utilities this month was about 200 ringgit. That's 47 US dollars or 69 Aussie dollars. The next category is fees, and by this one I mean bank fees or currency transfer fees. As the ringgit appreciated, it actually made sense to send a lot of money back from Malaysia to Australia. I'll cover this more later in the video. I spent 344 ringgit, 80 US dollars or 119 Aussie dollars on Wise fees. It's the cheapest and easiest way to transfer money overseas. I'll definitely do a full video on this at some point, but for now you can check out the link in the description for more information. Groceries. I cook at home most of the time and I'm focused on eating high quality whole foods. I spent 740 ringgit on groceries from Jaya Grocer. That's 173 US dollars or 256 Aussie dollars. I get a work allowance, so yours would cost more. But you could also save by buying ordinary produce, not the organic fancy stuff like I do. Remember, Malaysia is very flexible. You can get cheap stuff all the way up to the quality stuff. There's a huge range and you can make your lifestyle what you want it. However, do you remember that trip to Singapore? Well, I spent a fair bit more on food there. It's a big debate on who has better food, Singapore or Malaysia. Unpopular, I know, but I actually think Singapore has cleaner and more consistent food. You just pay a lot more for it. Feel free to tell me why I'm wrong in the comments. Go at it. Overall, I spent 888 ringgit on food for the month of October. For those of you who don't know, 8 is a lucky number in Chinese culture, so I guess Singapore is sending a message here. That's 207 US dollars or 307 Aussie dollars. Health, this is an important category. This month I didn't go to the doctor, but I did hurt my knee from running too much. I bought a joint supplement that seems to help with recovery. It cost 187 ringgit, which includes next day delivery from Shopee. Better than Amazon? Maybe. How about transport? 334 ringgit, 78 USD or 115 Aussie dollars. Most of this was the airport grabs in Singapore. The daily train trip in KL is a bargain, roughly 1.5 ringgit each way. I don't run a car because I don't need it, so transport comes to about 6% of my monthly costs in KL. Phone. 30 ringgit for the unlimited prepaid top-up, 7 USD or 10 Aussie dollars. Bargain, you don't need a postpaid plan here. Digital subscriptions, 76 ringgit, 18 US dollars or 26 Aussie dollars. This includes Google Drive cloud storage, Spotify, Apple Cloud, and Grab Unlimited, which is only 5 ringgit. Basically, you get a bunch of discount codes and free delivery for Grab every month. I probably save 50 ringgit or more a month from using that, so to be honest, it doesn't really make sense. I don't know how they do it, but definitely sign up for Grab Unlimited when you come here. Now let's move on on to discretionary expenses. These are the costs that I have much more choice over, such as shopping, entertainment, grooming, and maybe even dating. First category, business costs, 800 ringgit for a round of editing for these YouTube videos. However, I'll be cutting down on that from now on as I want to make this YouTube channel profitable. That's 186 US dollars or 276 Aussie dollars. How about entertainment? 25 ringgit, 6 US dollars or 9 Aussie dollars. YouTube and the gym are my fun and they don't cost me anything. Shopping and home expenses, about 200 ringgit, 47 US dollars or 70 Aussie dollars. I bought some little miscellaneous items and gifts. Grooming, like hair care and skin products, stuff like that. 105 ringgit, 24 US dollars or 35 Aussie dollars. If you've seen my other video, you'll know that my haircuts for the last few months have been covered by KL's best barber, but I'll be back on the hook paying for it from next month. But also keep in mind, you can get super cheap haircuts in KL from 20 ringgit or about 4 or 5 US dollars. So if you don't want the luxury experience, you can go to the cheap one. Definitely recommend the corner store Indian barbers. They are the best. Dating, this is a hot topic. I'm in a stable situation right now and I spent about 700 ringgit this month. This includes activities or dining together that I wouldn't have spent otherwise. That's 163 US dollars or 241 Aussie dollars. Basically the same price as one fancy dinner in Sydney. Okay, shush. The last category here is travel. Now, I mentioned before I went to Singapore and I booked the costs ahead, so it's not included here. However, you can expect to spend about 450 ringgit a night there in Singapore for a decent low-end room. So keep that in mind if you do want to visit Singapore. Just go for a few days. It is a lot more expensive than KL and you can really tell the difference. But Jack, what about the strong ringgit? It was one of the strongest currencies over the last month or two, right? Doesn't that make things more expensive? Well, it depends completely on your situation and how you measure it. From a purely economic perspective, it should make goods less expensive as a stronger ringgit buys more goods from overseas, imports. However, if you're an expat or traveler here relying on foreign income, it's going to make Malaysia and Kuala Lumpur a little bit more expensive. This is because you'll need more US dollars, pounds, euros, Aussie dollars to buy the same amount of ringgit. I earn pretty much all my money in ringgit working in that big tower behind me. And over the last 2 or 3 months, it's appreciated about 10% against the Aussie dollar. This means I can convert my saved ringgit back to Aussie dollars and get about 10% more for my money. Personally, I measure my net worth and savings in Aussie dollars, so it's a win for me. Of course, the opposite is true. When the ringgit depreciates, it's going to be worth less against Aussie dollars or your local currency. In that case, I keep my savings in ringgit until it appreciates again, and I think it's a good time to transfer. Basically, transfer ringgit into Malaysia when the ringgit is low and spend it overseas when the ringgit is high. This is another major benefit of living or working overseas that I'll talk about more in another video. Last big question, am I noticing inflation in Malaysia and Kuala Lumpur? Personally, no, I'm not. As I said, my expenses overall are down about 20% from last year. So personally, I'm not experiencing it, but I would love to hear from the locals watching this video because this is a major point of contention. Locals do earn a lot less money and I believe are strongly underpaid. So I would like to know, and the other viewers would like to benefit from your perspective. What are you noticing in terms of inflation? How have you experienced the cost of living as a local? Please comment below. I'll reply. It adds to the conversation, helps us all learn and gives different perspectives. I'd really appreciate that. I hope you loved this video and it helped you understand the cost of living in Kuala Lumpur and Malaysia in 2024. I'm Jack Alderton. Subscribe for more videos about life in Malaysia. See you in the next one.